I haven't made a video on WuWa in over a year, but recently something happened that had me addicted all over again. I fell in love with the game. I've been trying to make a WuWa video for over a year at this point, and I started to wonder why the project had become so hard when at the start it was so easy. Eventually I realized that I had just fallen out of love with the game over time, and I wanted to know why that had happened. While taking a look retrospectively at my history with the game, I ended up discovering quite a bit about myself. So in this video, not only will I be detailing the faults and the flaws that led me to abandon the game, I'll also be covering the highs that brought me back into the game, and ultimately why Wuthering Waves is one of my favorite games. But before I can explain just how I came to love the game again, I must first explain why I stopped in the first place. My burnout with the game came from my first summons and consequently Changli. When I booted up the game for the first time, I really fell in love with the Spectra Rover, and I also really liked Chixia and Yang Yang, but Rover was the character that really caught my attention for one reason or the other. Having also experienced early day gachas before, I knew the first couple characters wouldn't really stand the test of time. Due to this, I vowed to start a no summon challenge, hoping to skip to a time when character strength was a little bit more figured out. Obviously that didn't go so well, and I ended up falling in love with both Changli and Yinlin, with the former being my first character. I had planned for Changli's story quest to be that final push of XP to get me to the max union level at the time, symbolizing the end of the no summon challenge in a sort of grandiose kind of way. But I ended up pulling Changli early because I was getting tired of the game and I was just kind of running out of steam. In the early days of Wuthering Waves, there was a lot of issues with the game. I was getting annoyed by the game's exploration as the in-game systems were just really bad, and the online map was not even accurate. These issues combined with the end of my challenge really neutered my enjoyment of the game. Combine that with my increased attention to other games like Genshin, and I all but gave up on WuWa completely. But I never fully quit the game as I knew eventually I would come back, instead choosing to just log in and spend my energy on XP and credits and other materials. Doing this would set me up for an easier time in the future, having a sort of stockpile of resources to fall back on while I didn't have to actively pay attention to the game. I kept up with the game in this sort of detached interest kind of way for a while, also ignoring quests and events, and the only thing that really brought me back into the game was an event that forced me into the new Black Shores area. As I wasn't interested in the game, I was primarily skipping through the story and I wasn't recording anything, but little did I know that the Shorekeeper questline was amazing and I really enjoyed it. But while I was enthralled by the quest, I had basically ignored the Black Shores, getting annoyed that I had to actually progress the game in order to just play the events because they took place there. It wasn't until I pulled Camellia that I began to realize just what this game had in store for me. In order to level her up, I needed to progress further for her boss, and that's when I stumbled across one of the most gorgeous OSTs I've ever heard. After experiencing that boss fight and the accompanying music, I began to feel a lot more hopeful about the game. Of course, WuWa had a lot of issues, and I'd experienced them firsthand, but oddly enough, it was this moment that had made me realize the game was something special. Yeah, it wasn't quite there yet, but it clearly had the capacity to get there. Now don't get me wrong, I was still logging in every day and saving up for characters I wanted, but the story and the world building had fallen to the wayside in the meantime. It was this renewed outlook on the game that had me really excited to play it and consequently make videos again. And therein lies my big issue. It had been months since my last video, and I really wanted to make the next one special to portray that sort of magical feeling I had in the Black Shores. I tried to write the video in so many different ways, but I couldn't come up with anything. I thought without the story and the cutscenes to guide the video, it couldn't be good. This is actually a pretty good representation of my mental state at the time, as I just wasn't confident enough in making something purely for me. I was letting the games dictate how my videos would go, and if they didn't do well, it hurt me mentally. Each video I wanted to be bigger and better than the last, while simultaneously trying to edit every day. As you might expect, this caused me to burn out pretty hard, but as I was trying to take YouTube more seriously, I couldn't fully quit. This led to my quality standards dropping for a while before eventually giving up on the daily editing completely. While initially this was better for me, I ended up falling back on a pretty vicious mentality. If I can't make something good, I'd rather not make it at all. I'd rather take a 0 on a project if there was no hope of me getting 100. This type of thinking is what caused me to scrap not only WuWa, but a lot of videos in the process. With no video project to work on, my enthusiasm died once again, and I went back to the old cycle of just logging in to spend energy. But like I said earlier, I knew this game was capable of something truly special. Amidst all the hate, all the bugs, all the animosity from the player base, WuWa released what I truly think is the most gorgeous area in any game I've ever played, not just gacha games or free games in general. I was truly dumbfounded and awestruck by Rinascitta, purely from a visual standpoint. Then I heard the music for the first time, and that was it. This was the something special I had been waiting for, and boy was it worth the wait. As much as I'd like to continually glaze the final product, I simply don't have the vocabulary to encapsulate the emotions I felt at the time. It was perfect, for lack of a better word, and I was so excited to make a video. With a game this breathtaking and a world this rich, it couldn't be bad, there was just no way. But it never happened. And the reason for this is my inability to manage my time. My Genshin videos were doing really well, and I was focusing all my time on those projects, both in and out of the game. I wanted desperately to play through a story and learn about this gorgeous new area, but I simply couldn't manage my time between the two games. And this is where I ended up losing a lot of love for the game. At what I thought was the height of my enjoyment, I cut myself off, determined to only experience it when I could record said experience. It had gotten to the point where I wasn't enjoying the game for myself. I was enjoying the game purely as a source of content. Even with a smaller channel like mine, where the difference between something I consider a flop and something I consider really good is a lot smaller than you might think, I still had that sort of mindset where I only wanted to do stuff purely for content and video making purposes. I was so adamant on turning every single moment of gaming into content, I refused to play the game until I had the time to do that. So I just didn't play the game. I went back to my old routine of spending energy and logging out. Obviously, that's not a sustainable cycle, especially if you're pulling newer characters. Contorella, Carlotta, Cartethia, Lupa, I had pulled all of these characters, but I couldn't play with them due to their materials being locked behind the story in one form or the other. I felt like there was two halves of me pulling in opposite directions. On one side, you had the content brain Josh who was telling me I couldn't waste the story. On the other side, you had the pessimistic Josh who was telling me I was being narcissistic and that wanting my every experience to be shared online was a disease and really bad for me. And I wrestled with these differing opinions for quite a while. And to be honest, I might never have chosen a side if it wasn't for the beauty of the game. While looking through the WuWa Reddit with a friend, I came across a post of some spectacular mid-air combat, and to put it bluntly, I was astounded and a little bit aghast. It didn't even look like I was playing the same game as this person, and the game they were playing was way more fun. In addition to that post, I discovered Cartethia's song, and this led me down a music rabbit hole. And while these discoveries were helping me rediscover my passion, what finally led to the breaking point was actually boredom. You see, at this point I was running the same team ever since I had pulled Changli, and while Changli and Spectre Rover are still my favorite characters, I had just gotten sick of using them. WuWa's combat system is incredibly flashy and fun, and I had a bunch of characters I wanted to try out. So I finally broke my deadlock, cleared out that indecision, and spent the next 2 days just playing through Rinascitta's story. And that brings me back to the title of this video, why I fell in love with Wuthering Waves again. Because the truth is, it wasn't just one thing. It would be a very nice wrap up to the video if I just said it was Fleur-de-Lis's storyline and her quest that single-handedly reignited my passion, but it just wouldn't be true. What really made me fall in love with the game again was a combination of the storyline, the music, and the visual design. I've been defending this game since its release, and I couldn't be more glad that I believed in it. While no game is perfect, WuWa has consistently broken their own glass ceiling patch after patch, and it's truly been a joy to watch the game grow as it has. I knew from the start this game would change, and that's why I started the No Summon Challenge in the first place. I truly do love this game, and I'm excited for its future, but I'm also grateful for the past it's had, no matter how bad or lame it may be. I know this video was a lot of me just talking, but I felt like it had to be done. There was no other way I could think to pay homage to the game. And just as a quick aside, I love WuWa and Genshin both. For some reason, WuWa content tends to be on the more negative side and often gets compared to Genshin. Like I said, no game is perfect, and both these games have grown significantly since their launch. I don't want to inspire any animosity between the games, and I truly just want to share my love for the game. With that being said, this marks the end of the No Summon Challenge, as I've basically been summoning for an entire year. I want to make more WuWa videos in the future, but I don't want to just follow the same route as Genshin, where I'm mostly doing exploration. If you have any ideas or videos you want to see, absolutely leave me a comment telling me what they are. I hope you enjoyed this different style of video, but I think that's about it. That's all I got for you. As always, thank you for your time and have a wonderful day.
That won't ever change. Yeah, sometimes I'm mad, sometimes I'm okay. Yeah, I know I'll have what I want someday. I need my space now so I can feel nothing. I live this nightmare so